It's never about the price, it's about the combination of gear that you have. You can have an instrument that is not super expensive and it sounds great. And I know of very, very, very expensive instruments that I wouldn't swap against certain no-name instruments because they're just in bad condition or just worn out or, you know, just don't sound. That's what happens. With bows, there is actually a few parameters that you want to be thinking of. I mean, first it's obviously the condition. And every bow should be a straight stick, and that you check by making it tight. And then looking at the stick and see that it's actually straight. And a lot of bows you will see that they go out of bend, especially cheaper ones that have been overstretched for years. They sort of, you know, so don't even go there. But the more expensive ones that have been played by professionals, they'll always be in good condition. And then one of the biggest differences you can get is the weight. So you can go towards 70, 72 grams up to, I had one for a while that was 91, and that's quite tiring to play on that for a long time. But it's not only the weight, it's also the weight distribution, how heavy it is at the tip. And if the tip has a metal plate, or if it's ivory, and if there's added metal in the tip that makes it heavier towards you know, the upper half, which has advantages in if you want to play long lines and sort of big fat romantic stuff, that's great. But if you then want to play the Elgar concerto with a bow like this, it becomes quite tiring. So one either has one preferred bow, or you have probably even 2 or 3 very different ones that you might want to use, depending on where you are in your playing career. For a decent students, beginners, amateur bow, you would want to look at something balanced, so not too heavy at the frog and not too heavy at the tip. You want something that you can do basically everything with, because you'd probably buy one bow and not 4 or 5. And then you check where how flexible it is, which is sort of you support it here, and then you sort of do these things, and you see that it really bends nicely and regularly, and it doesn't, you know, the resistance is not too big, and also it's not too soft, because if it's too soft and you play forte, then you get the stick on the string, and that makes an ugly noise, and then that means you have to play like this, and that is too tight, and that means you lose the flexibility and the color. So if that would be sort of the normal, bit more than this maybe, that would be sort of the normal playing position. And if you now play forte and and you give all your energy into the bow, and then the bow hits the string, then it's too soft for you, because then you'll get a noise when you play. So a lot of it is personal taste, and then of course it has to work with the instrument. Golden rule: never try a bow with an instrument that you don't know, and vice versa. Never try an instrument with a bow that you don't know, because it'll sound different, it'll feel different. And finding a bow is kind of making the cello work, really, because not every bow works with every cello. It's kind of a matchmaking exercise, really. And it's just trial and error. Once you've tried 20, 30, 40 bows, you know what you like and what you don't like. And as with instruments, it's not necessarily the most expensive bow that is the best match for the cello that you have. And the other way around, it's not always the most expensive cello that is the best. Money is only secondary in that question. I find it fun to try a lot of things and experiment with different bows and different instruments, because it makes me rethink my playing. That's quite light, that's 73. That's a light bow. I used to play very heavy bows for a long time, and then about 5-6 years ago I discovered this thing and instantly fell in love with it and bought it, and that's now my favorite bow. 2 or 3. I've bought and sold bows quite frequently. I've had a big variety of bows over the years, and I'll keep doing that, because it as I say, it does change the playing, and it makes me question articulation and sound, and it doesn't get boring.